In the headlines, police repel terrorist attacks, arrest 10 suspects in Zamfara State. PDP blames enemies of democracy for attacks on rallies, INEC facilities, urge President Buhari to intervene. Supreme Court affirms Umahi as APC senatorial candidate for Ebonyi South. And on the international scene, U.S. announces sanctions against Guinea's former leader. Hello and welcome to Trust News Update. I'm Dashan Husseina Usman. And I'll begin with security, where the police in Zamfara State say its tactical operatives repelled terrorist attacks, arrested 10 suspected terrorists, and recovered 2 AK-47 rifles. According to the police, they also recovered 2 magazines, 104 rounds of live ammunition, and large quantity of dry leaves suspected to be Indian hemp. The Zamfara State Police Public Relations Officer Muhammad Shehu said its tactical operatives foiled terrorist attacks in Zurmi and Shinkafi local government areas of Zamfara State, northwest Nigeria, after engaging them in a gun duel that lasted for hours. Shehu said the suspected terrorists were forced to retreat into the forest with possible gunshot wounds while they recovered 2 AK-47 rifles and 104 rounds of live ammunition from the scene. According to him, 2 suspected suppliers of hard drugs to the terrorists, identified as Murtala Dahiru from Galadi village in Shinkafi local government area and Sani Muhammad of Talata Mafara village local government area, all of Zamfara State, were also arrested.
Arrested by police tactical operatives while on confidence building patrol. Also this time around, it was based on intelligence information that we received about what was contained in the vehicle of this suspect, and our operatives wasted no time in making sure that the suspects were intercepted and arrested.
The Nigeria Security and Civil Defense Corps says its operatives have arrested 6 persons allegedly involved in currency racketeering in Port Harcourt in Rivers State capital. The Rivers State NSCDC Commandant Michael Orga disclosed this while parading the suspects and seized the sums of money before newsmen in Port Harcourt. The report.
Commandant Orga said the clampdown on the Naira vendors is hinged on the Central Bank of Nigeria Act, Sections 20 and 21, which makes it punishable for anyone or a group of people to hawk, sell, or trade in Naira notes without authorization.
We're parading 6 suspects, currency racketeering. And activities contravene Section 20 and 21 of CBN Acts by selling Naira to Naira. You know, if you go to a bank, you don't get mint. So these people now go to a bank, they get mints, they come out and sell those mints.
Orga, while analyzing other punishable offences under the CBN Act, also said the command and other security agencies would continue to clamp down on perpetrators of the offence and make them face the law. He disclosed that while the point of sale operation is legal, it was against the law for operators to use it as a cover to perpetrate illegality.
It is wrong to buy and sell the Naira. It is wrong to spray Naira during wedding ceremonies, birthday ceremonies, and any other ceremony. It's also wrong to write on the Naira.
Some of the suspects said they were not aware that selling of Naira is prohibited.
I came out to buy water, and I now saw people rushing up and down. I said, what is going on? What is going on? Before you know, one fat woman that I've collected her name from her colleagues just dropped back. And I said, who dropped this bag? Before you know, one policeman just pointed gun to me that, oh yeah, pick your gun, pick the bag. And is it my bag? He said, this man, if you don't respect yourself, I will beat you. Other people came to join her. I will beat you, and they forced me inside their motor.
So I don't know that using normal Naira to do POS is against the law. Because where I live, where I stayed and do my business, they sell money.
No, I just started last month. Now I started, so I never hear it.
Commandant Orga reaffirmed its commitment to ridding Rivers State of illegal oil bunkering and ensuring safety of critical national assets from economic saboteurs.
The People's Democratic Party's Presidential Campaign Council on Friday urged President Muhammadu Buhari to intervene in the attacks on its campaign teams and rallies across the country. The council's Director of Strategy and Communication, Dele Momodu, who made the appeal at a news conference in Abuja, also urged the president to intervene in the destruction of its campaign billboards, especially in states not under his control. He added that it has become impossible for the PDP to erect billboards or paste posters, especially in Lagos State. Momodu also condemned Thursday's attack on the residence of the Rivers coordinator of the PDP Presidential Campaign Council, Lee Meba, in Port Harcourt. Several cases of violence have been recorded across the country since the takeoff of campaign activities in September.
In practically all APC states, controlled states, it's been virtually impossible for us to erect our billboards, to paste our posters, to use government-controlled radio stations, especially in Lagos. We wish to appeal through you to the federal government, since they control the APC, that this is not what democracy is all about. I was one of those who fought and suffered for this democracy. We never envisaged that in the civilian regime, we are going to have this kind of harassment, whereby we cannot practice democracy as it should be done. In 2014, 2015, I was one of those who supported Buhari, and there was never a time that PDP disturbed us, because if they disturbed us, maybe there would have been no Buhari. So we are hoping that Mr. President would help us speak to the security agencies to protect the lives of our people, to protect our properties wherever they are on the soil of Nigeria, because we are all Nigerians.
Still in politics, the presidential candidate of the new Nigerian People's Party, Rabiu Musa Kwankwaso, has debunked the rumor that he might merge with another political party ahead of the 2023 general election. Kwankwaso described the promoters of the rumor as failed politicians. The presidential candidate said this in Abeokuta, Ogun State, while addressing journalists shortly after his meeting with his party members in the state. There have been claims that the NNPP may merge with other parties and the main opposition party, the People's Democratic Party, ahead of the election to wrestle power from the APC. While interacting with members of his party, the presidential candidate promised that if elected, he will strengthen Nigeria's armed forces with 1 million recruits, adding that his administration would grant education at all levels to citizens and place priority on youth and women empowerment.
But by 2023, next year, by the grace of God, NNPP will win the election at national and all other levels. So these are people who are failed politicians, who have nothing to tell Nigerians other than to spread unnecessary rumor of Maja. Maja is already gone. We have our candidates in all the parties. Everybody is campaigning. So don't one disregard that nonsense.
The Supreme Court on Friday affirmed Ebonyi State Governor Dave Umahi as the authentic candidate of the All Progressives Congress for Ebonyi South Senatorial District election. In a unanimous decision, a 5-man panel led by Justice Kudirat Ekekere Ekun dismissed an appeal filed by an aggrieved aspirant of the senatorial seat, Princess Anne Agom Eze. The panel held that the appeal lacked merit and ought to be dismissed. Agom Eze had approached the court to set aside the concurrent judgments of both the Federal High Court and the Court of Appeal in Abuja, which upheld the outcome of the primary election that produced Governor Umahi. Agom Eze had emerged second in the initial senatorial primary that the APC held on May 28th, which was won by Austin Umahi, the younger brother of Governor Umahi, who later voluntarily relinquished the ticket to the governor after he failed to clinch the APC presidential ticket. Trust TV's Abdulaziz has won the television category of the 17th Wole Soyinka Award for investigative reporting. His documentary, Banditry, The Inside Story, beat 20 other finalists to emerge winner. Another Trust TV documentary on maternal race in Nigeria, anchored by Zainab Bala, comes third with commendation from the organizers. Here's the report.
Abdulaziz is a multiple award-winning journalist who won the Wole Soyinka Award for Investigative Journalist of the Year, as well as Investigative Reporter of the Year Online Award in 2018 for exposing the National Youth Service Corps Scheme exemption certificate forgery of Kemi Adeosun, former Minister of Finance. His documentary highlights the devastating impact of the ravaging banditry on the people in rural areas and how authorities fail to address the security challenges in the country. Over 200 nominations were received for the award, and 20 made the final list, with 2 documentaries from Trust TV making the first and third positions.
It's really exciting and very rewarding, especially because of the labor, the effort, and the risks one has taken to undergo to do this story. And I feel really happy. And I think this is a wake-up call, not only to me, but also to all my colleagues. And I think it's a big congratulations to all the people who also helped or supported this story, CDD, Trust TV, and all that.
In other categories, Juliana Francis of the New Telegraph won the print category, Babatunde Okunla won the radio category, Deji Lambo from the Punch newspaper won the photo category, and Victor Ashowata from the Wheel newspaper won the editorial cartoonist category. Taiwo Hassan of Premium Times won the online category, as well as overall winner of the Wole Soyinka Investigative Reporter of the Year. Zainab Bala and Hassan expressed satisfaction about their winning entries.
Well, I am super excited. I'm super excited right now because it's really an honor to actually be commended for my work, because I know what I went through to actually do that piece. And so awards like this are very important because it tells you as a journalist that what you're doing is important, and it also helps journalists to get to do more for their communities.
It's a testimony to highest level of professionalism, highest level of journalistic excellence. So you have to be highly professional, highly ethical, truth, all these journalistic ethics have to be your guiding principles.
The Executive Director, Wole Soyinka Center of Investigative Journalism, Motunrayo Alaka, encouraged media houses to have a dedicated desk for investigation, while tasking the government to take action on the wrongdoings exposed by journalists.
We know that the impact also is that the stories that were covered will be revisited, and sometimes more action is taken by the authorities on perpetrators of crime or correcting our system.
The journalists who made the list for the awards have, in the course of their duties, shown uncommon innovation and profundity, ethical journalistic courage, as we saw this evening from Anas, individual creativity, and public benefit in their reports on clandestine activities, public and corporate corruption, human rights violation, and or failure of regulatory agencies.
Trust TV has, since its debut on the Nigerian broadcasting scene in 2021, been producing series of documentaries about contemporary national issues.
You're watching News Update on Trust TV. Coming up after the break. Bicycle sellers blame high cost on exchange rate. Do stay with us.
TV, documenting the Nigerian story.
Welcome back and thanks for staying with us. If you're just joining us, you're watching Trust News Update. Here's a recap of our top stories. We told you that police repel terrorist attacks, arrest 10 suspects in Zamfara State. We also told you that PDP blames enemies of democracy for attacks on rallies, INEC facilities, and urged President Buhari to intervene. Moving to more stories, freedom of speech allows Nigerians to freely express feelings on issues affecting governance, politics, economy, and the like. However, many believe that despite the provision of the Constitution that guaranteed freedom of expression of opinions, Nigerians have no absolute freedom to express themselves concerning governance issues in the country. In this report, respondents call for stiffer penalty for those who hide under freedom of expression to defame other people.
The digital platforms avail people the opportunity to interact with one another, making communication easy. People now express themselves more on social media platforms where they discuss politics, economy, and other social issues in the country. However, some people opine this freedom to express feeling is not absolute and therefore cannot be exercised with reckless abandon.
By freedom of speech, it simply means that one is at liberty to say what he wants to say. He's free to say it. But the question here remains is, do we have that liberty? Is there anything like liberty of speech? Can someone just come out just like that to talk whatever he wants to say?
We find it difficult here to find our liberty or freedom of speech, maybe by writing content or by expressing with your voice or by video, which we have a lot of platforms which utilize or materialize that now. So we don't have freedom of speech, we only have it on paper as stated in the Constitution.
They said in most cases, even the citizens violate their freedom of expression.
A lot of youth now engage in social media, which they feel is a platform that gives them the hope and the opportunity to express every bit of their feelings.
Because in digital world now, you can sit down at the comfort of your in your room and say whatever you want to say and post whatever you want to say. Like Iran, even here in Africa, like Malawi, you don't just post anything or say anything. You will be sanctioned. So even in Nigeria here, where we have some liberty to talk, to say whatever we want to say, but if you cross the boundary, you will be sanctioned. If you cross the boundary, when you accuse somebody of theft, whereas you don't have evidence, he has not told somebody, when you defame somebody and the rest, the security should arrest you. Why shouldn't they arrest you? That's why I say we should be guided. We should know what we want to say.
A lawyer and senior advocate of Nigeria, Oladipo Tolani, said freedom of speech must be exercised within the confines of the law to avoid damaging other people.
A duty to exercise the right in a manner to ensure that the society is not brought down. When I say brought down, you don't exercise your freedom of speech in such a way that it will inflame passion and destroy the society. You don't exercise your right to destroy the name of the individuals, of individuals. You don't exercise the right in order to ridicule the nation and the court system. In fact, when you look at the proviso to the Constitution, to that section 39, there are reasonable bases. The law says there is nothing that invalidates a law which imposes restriction.
Tolani said freedom of speech is not a guarantee to violate rights of others or ridicule the government.
And the law for criminal defamation does not say unless there is a warrant of arrest before you can be arrested. If I destroy you or deliberately set you on a path of destruction in the society, or ridicule you, or ridicule the nation, or ridicule the judiciary, then he should be arrested as a preventive measure in order to ensure that we do not have problem in the society.
Despite right given by the Constitution to the citizens to express themselves, exercising such right comes with responsibility. Bella Musa, Trust TV News, Kaduna.
Bicycle is considered the cheapest means of movement because it does not require fuel to move. But in recent times, there have been a hike in its price in Nigeria, particularly in Abuja, making it out of reach for many. In this report, Noel Sampson gets to look at the reason behind the hike in price and why customers still go for them despite the price.
Bicycle is also called two-wheeled steerable machine that is paddled by its rider's feet. German inventor Karl van Dries is credited with developing the first bicycle. His machine, known as the Swift Walker, hit the road in 1817. The importance of bicycle cannot be overemphasized. It can be used as a form of transportation and also for exercise. But in Abuja, the price of bicycle can go as high as 100,000, and clearly this is beyond the reach of many people.
People tend to start using bicycle to ease the movement. Aside from that, there's a lot of people also that are using bicycles for exercise, at least especially for the adults. When they get to the hospital, they ask them to do exercising. The increase in the price of bicycle, although not all the bicycles are quite expensive, there are some that are still on the average. Although, you know, the issue of exchange rate is part of what is causing it.
But despite its increase in price, some customers still deem it fit to still go get them for their own different reasons.
Bicycles, number one, they are fun, they are a good source of exercise, and to me, riding a bicycle is a skill. For the few scarce states, I think the bike is the best subsidy for it. Like, you don't have fuel, you can ride on your bike to wherever you're going. Even abroad, people ride bike all the time. Now that everywhere is fuel scarcity, you don't want to go and waste your time 10 hours on the queue. Sometimes you have to be very careful, but it's safe when you know where you're going to. Don't ride it too far, don't go to the unsafe routes. Always go to the safe routes because of the security condition, of course. You have to be security conscious.
Basically, it's not because of the fuel issue. I think it's because of exercise for adults. Key, you know, these days so many people are health conscious now, and then they realize that biking is a very good activity to keep fit, to lose weight, to check general body, to maintain general body systems against any kind of high sugar levels, blood pressures. So it's not about the fuel hikes.
Biking isn't just good for physical health, it is good for mental health as well. Plus, cycling is the most suitable mode of transportation for short and medium trip distances in urban cities. The question, however, is it safe to ride bike in Abuja, where chaotic vehicular traffic is a common feature? Noel Sampson, Trust TV News, Abuja.
On the foreign scene, United States Authority on Friday announced that they're imposing sanctions on Guinea's former leader, Alpha Condé. The sanctions are related to violence against opponents before his ouster in the coup in 2021. The former Guinean leader will have his U.S. assets frozen, while all transactions involving him will also be criminalized. Condé became the first democratically elected president of Guinea in 2010, but after 2 terms was accused of rising authoritarianism, culminating into a bloody crackdown against protesters in 2020. According to the U.S. Treasury Department, Alpha Condé, who is now 84 years old, was engaged in serious human rights abuse. And with this, we've come to the end of Trust News Update. Don't forget to follow us across all our social media platforms. I'm Darshan Hussaina Usman. Thanks for watching.